Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Deb's Corner. This is Deb here. I seem a little more bubbly than usual because I'm talking about my favorite thing, food. I'm a big foodie at heart. I love food, I love anything that deals with food. I travel for food. So in this video we're going to be talking about inspirations for my dinner meals, right? And the meals that I cook for my family. So let's get into it. So in this video, I wanted to talk about 3 ways that I get inspiration for my dinner ideas. I know during this pandemic, we've been shut in, at least for me, I've been shut in. So I do most of the cooking in the house. So coming up with meal ideas was one of the toughest things that I had to go through during quarantine shutdown period, right? Of 2020 into 2021, right? So coming up with breakfast ideas, coming up with lunch ideas, coming up with dinner ideas. Oh my God. After a while, it was easy at first, but then after a while, it was like, oh, I'm getting tired of like waking up, making breakfast, waking up, not waking up because I don't wake up late. You know, waking up, making breakfast, then making lunch, then making dinner every day, 365 days. Because from March to March, that's 365 days. So for 365 days and plus, I've been planning breakfast, I've been planning lunch, I've been planning dinner, and it's become tiring. At first, the ideas were flowing. It's like, yes, oh no, we're gonna try this out, we're gonna try that. I'm gonna try like breakfast, like actual breakfast meals, because we are not rushing to get out of the door to drop off the kids at school. So it was great at first, oatmeals and smoothies and blah blah blah. But then after a while, it just became too, you know, kids were tired of eating the same thing. I was tired of cooking the same thing. It was just tiring. So I had to get inspired really quickly. So how I get 3 ways that I get inspired, or 3 ways that I come up with dinner. This video is going to focus on dinner meals. Was number 1, by talking to my girlfriends, my friends especially who have kids and who cook on a regular basis, right? Talking to them, you know, in our conversations, we'll just talk about our day, and then somehow food or meals will be brought into the conversation. And I guess that's the life of a mommy, right? Or a wife, or, you know, food is constantly involved, right? Especially if you have kids. So talk about the meal idea, and they'll just randomly say, oh, they have to cook this, or they have to cook that. And when usually they have to cook something, they'll mention it, and in my head it's like, oh yeah, I haven't tried that meal, why don't I give it a try? And so most of my ideas, some of my ideas come from conversations with my friends, or they can just talk about randomly going to a restaurant trying a new meal, and they'll like tell me about that meal, and I'm like, oh, I can cook that. So that's one of my inspiration. The second inspiration are cookbooks. Pre-COVID, I used to go to bookstores, go to the cookbook section, and just rummage through the pages and just looking up meal ideas. I usually did this in also Costco. Costco has a bunch of like cookbooks there. I will do in Costco. Just skim through pages, and if I like a recipe, I'll take a picture of it. Sorry, I'm not supporting a book, but I don't have to buy. If I went to the store or the bookstore or Costco to buy every cookbook that there is to support, my bookcase would be falling over. So I don't. So I go in there, I look at the pages, find a recipe I like, I take a picture of it, go home and try it. So if you were offered a glimpse into my photo album on my phone, you will see a bunch of pictures of cookbooks, of dessert ideas, of dinner ideas, of breakfast ideas. So that's another way I get my inspirations, from cookbooks. The last one is, kid you not, I am a big Whole Foods shopper. Whole Foods is like the primary grocery store for our family, and then everything else is secondary. So I usually do most of my bulk shopping. I wouldn't say bulk, but I do most of my shopping for produce at Whole Foods, because I noticed that Whole Foods have fresher produce, and that's why I love produce. So that's why I go there. So I will get my inspiration from the third way that I get my inspirations from my meal ideas is by going to the grocery store. In my case, it would be Whole Foods. So going there and just finding an associate that works in a certain section of the store and just asking questions. Oh, hey, I am thinking about making this. What Like, okay, I'm thinking about making mac and cheese, but I want to make the fancy kind of mac and cheese with Gruyere cheese and everything. So I would say, oh, what would you recommend? And they would basically say, hey, I recommend this kind of cheese or that kind of cheese. I'll buy it. And you know, just asking them more questions, being a learner, asking them more questions, saying, okay, so would you recommend this versus that? Why would you recommend it? Or what are the best cheeses out there? Or what are the best this out there or that out there? So just by talking, conversating with associates, I also get inspiration from that too as well. So those are the 3 ways that I get inspired with my dinner meal ideas, right? And so from there I can then go and recreate. There are other ways that you can get inspired, obviously YouTube, also blogs and Pinterest and other stuff. Those 3 things that I mentioned earlier are ways that I get inspired with my dinner meal ideas. Hopefully this helped a bit. Again, with all my videos, if it hasn't, that's okay. If it has, that's okay too. I want to know how you guys get inspired. How do you create your dinner meals? Where do you get your ideas from? How do you get your ideas? And if you are stuck or if you're bored with making dinner, how do you get inspired? Let me know. So until my next video, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.